Shalom, Israel. My name is Officer Kayadwan out of I.S.U.P.K, Jamaica. I.S.U.P.K started 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I.S.U.P.K is run by Commanding General YAHANNA, the one man with the rank and the authority to lead Israel at this time. I say Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai Barakatam to my brothers, Yahweh Shamar Alatan Basham Yahweh Shai to my sisters. All right, so today we have a talk about Columbus. You know what I mean? All right, so the question is, what do we know about Columbus? Like, we know the stories that we were told, that Columbus discovered the new world. You understand that he came over here to the Americas and discovered the new world, the new world, as if people weren't living here before, right? And Columbus was lost at sea. He did not know, you know what I mean? He was searching for gold, become lost at sea, and discovered those buck upon, you know what I mean, pounce upon some new land. You understand that he discovered. Another lie was that Columbus thought the earth was flat. You understand? And another lie is that, you know what I mean, Columbus did not know who the people over here were. And we will show you that Columbus indeed know that who the people over, you know what I mean, the Americas were. And he knew that they were Israelites. You understand? And we will show you through a book name. You know what I mean? This book is called Lost Tribes and the Promised Land. You understand? Which is a good book. See? And it basically show you, give you more detail than your history class would have given you about Columbus. You understand? And basically show you, say, our history classes or our history teachers were telling us lies. You understand? But thank the Most High for the I.S.U.P.K and the Commanding General YAHANNA, because, you know what I mean, we are the ones that bring these things to light. You understand? So in the meanwhile, just like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also leave your comments. All right? So first we have a touch upon Columbus Hebrew translator. So, you know what I mean, a little backdrop. Columbus was, you know what I mean, heading over here, and he saw it fit to get a Hebrew translator named Louis the Torres. You understand why? Because a great king that he knew about who was over here, called the Great Khan. You understand? You know what I mean? I'm assuming many movies that you see Khan, you know what I mean? For example, you have Mortal Kombat with the game itself. We talk about Khan, you know what I mean? This Native American looking God, you know what I mean? I'm assuming that, you know what I mean, them take that image there, you know what I mean, from this historical figure and put it in them video games and them other things. But that's just my opinion. See? No, Louis the Torres, he was an Israelite. Let me say that again. Louis the Torres, or Louis the Torres, was an Israelite. We not talk a fake Jew. Was a real, you know what I mean, bloodline Israelite, who Christopher Columbus took on his journey to translate Hebrew. You understand? Because Christopher Columbus knew that the people who is going to be encountering over here in the Americas, that they speak Hebrew. So he brought one of their brothers, you know what I mean, probably from one of the other tribes, like Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, because in Spain, where Christopher Columbus was, he had a lot of, you know what I mean, Southern Kingdom Israelites. At that time, we were being expelled. As a matter of fact, the very same year, then, that Christopher Columbus got permission to go and, you know what I mean, explore over here, so, is the very same year that they were expelling, you know what I mean, Southern Kingdom Israelites out of Spain. You understand? But that is for another story, another day, another class. See? So we're going to jump to the book, The Lost Tribe and the Promised Lands, written by Ronald Sanders. And we are at page 97. And it says, we do not know much concerning Columbus' crew of about 90 men aboard the 3 ships, but at least one of them was an Israelite. Let me say that again. We do not know much concerning Columbus' crew. This is on page 97. If you can, Get that book. You understand? Or better yet, just come in the ISUPK. You know what I mean? We teach you the Bible because we never need these books to tell, you know what I mean? To tell with that, you know what I mean? Our Hispanic brothers were Israelites. We did not need these books, you know what I mean, to prove that we are Israelites. The Bible already did so. But because we in I.S.U.P.K and a command in general, and we do research, you understand? We do research. So we come with, you know what I mean, all the historical records to prove it. But, you know what I mean? But at least one of them was an Israelite whose presence as such was not merely accidental. The reason why them say his presence wasn't accidental is because Christopher Columbus knew that he needed this Hebrew-speaking Israelite. Let me continue. This was Louis de Torres, a convert of possibly only that year. Meaning, at that time, Spain was very, you know what I mean? They were converting Jews to Christianity on a large scale. And this Israelite was just converted to Christianity. He was a new convert, or the new Christian, as them call them. See? Let me continue reading. Who had once held a position with the governor of Mercia. He was said to have known Hebrew, Aramaic, and some Arabic, and had been brought along by Columbus specifically as an interpreter. And there's many more different, you know what I mean, parts in the book that confirm that Christopher Columbus knew who these people were. But we are going to jump to one more. So we just show you that, all right, Christopher Columbus brought an Israelite. We're not talking about a fake Jew, you know. We are talking about an Israelite who converted to Christianity because of, you know what I mean, Spain's oppression of the Jews at that time. At that very year, the Spanish was kicking Jews out of Spain into Africa. See? Christopher Columbus knew that he was going to encounter Jews. So he brought an Israelite, a Hebrew-speaking Israelite as interpreter. You understand? All right. We'll jump to another page. See? We'll jump to page 83 and we'll read from 83, part of 83 to 84. See? And just bear with me a little bit. Right? Stay with me. Along with this racial Christianity is an idea of revelation. We're there at page 83. That places the mystical Esdras right at the center. Esdras is a book, is a prophet, you know what I mean? And his prophecy, his book is in the Apocrypha that the Roman Catholic Church stole out of the Bible, meaning 14 books that the Roman Catholic Church, you know what I mean, stole out of the Bible so they can perpetuate their lies of Christianity, right? But back then, that world knew about Esdras. Just picture today. See? Nobody knew about the book of Esdras today. In Christopher Columbus' time, it was common knowledge that there was a book of Esdras. Let me continue reading. For the note is saying that the acceptance of the apocryphal Esdras as valid prophecy is what distinguished the new Christian from the reprobate Jews, right? So the apocryphal Esdras, this is the apocryphal. See? So, you know what I mean? They all knew about Esdras. You understand? Let me continue reading. Who reject him even though they regarded the Old Testament Ezra, right? The same person in Columbus' eye. So Columbus said, well, Ezra and Esdras is the same person. But many Jews at the time, you know what I mean, did not, you know what I mean, subscribe to Esdras. You understand? Let me continue reading. As it's like a canonical authority, right? In other words, to repudiate the vision of apocryphal Esdras is as if to repudiate the Jehovah of the prophets, right? So this is saying that if you don't consider the book of Esdras as valid prophecy, then it come like, you know, the Most High of the Bible, you know, consider him, you know what I mean, valid neither. Let me continue reading. Of course, them say Jehovah, but we know that the Hebrew name is Yahweh, right? and presumably the result will be the same. The rabbinical Jews of Spain, the note seemed to imply, are to be the lost tribes of modern time. Right. Let me continue reading. One wonder whether this note was written before or after the expulsion of the Jews in 1492. So we were expelled from Spain in 1492, right? The same time when Columbus was allowed to go on his voyage over here. So we were being expelled and Columbus, you know what I mean, was our brothers. So meanwhile, we were being kicked out of Spain and Europe and everywhere. Columbus now wanted to subjugate our brothers, the other tribes. You understand? So it was all this big conspiracy. Let me continue reading. But meanwhile, the apocryphal Esdras, which was, by the way, a book of special importance to many new Christians. So new Christians found this book very intriguing. You understand? As a good deal to say about the original lost tribes. So the original lost tribes are the 10 tribes, the northern kingdom. They were the first to be called the lost sheep of the house of Israel, meaning they were the first to be exiled out of the land. They were the first to be taken away into captivity by the Assyrians. You know what I mean? And then they came over here. You understand? And many of them were dispersed throughout, you know what I mean? Not too much of them, a small, you know what I mean, minority of them were dispersed and they were called the lost tribes, right? And this could not have passed lightly under Columbus' somewhat mystical gaze. Surely he saw special meaning for his own time and for himself. In this message in 2nd Esdras 13 and 2 to 5, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea. Right, so them basically quote, you know what I mean? Them quote the book of Esdras, the second book of Esdras 13, verse 2 to 5. Them quote those entire verses. See? So instead of reading it directly from the book, we have to read it from the book of Esdras. See? Because they basically quoted it. Right. So the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, and verse, we'll start from 2 and we'll read to 5, and it said, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. Verse 3, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Verse 4, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth failed when it feeleth the fire. Verse 5, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number, seen from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Right, so me just quote that a while ago. See? Let me continue reading now. So I'm going to decide to never read it from the real book of Esdras. See? But them quote that in this book because Christopher Columbus was paying close attention to these scriptures. Let me continue reading because now he was coming to investigate over YAHANNA, and he used the book of Esdras as guidance because he knew that the people who he was going to meet over here were the last sheep of the house of Israel, meaning our Taino, our Carib brothers, our Arawa brothers, and Christopher Columbus knew this. Let me continue reading when I'm done. See? But this warlike multitude is subdued by the man from the sea, and then another multitude, a peaceable one, comes to to him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and some brought of them that were offered. That is, brought him slaves from their midst. So Christopher Columbus misunderstood these scriptures, thinking that this man of the sea was talking about him and used it as a justification to slave our brothers. Let me continue reading. How could the exalted visionary Columbus not have seen an image of himself in this? certainly after his voyage of America discovery, but perhaps even earlier after making some voyage to the Guinea coast during his young years in Portugal. So he was also in Portugal and he also made visits to Guinea, where our, the Southern Kingdom Israelites, many of them were. Christopher Columbus is what you will call an expert on Israelite custom and knowing who the Israelites are. And his entire life was dedicated on finding the Israelites, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Let me continue reading. See? Slakia. Right. If Columbus did indeed glimpse himself in the role of the man from the sea, then Esdras' identification of the peaceable multitude taken on special significance. Now they're going to jump to another book in Esdras, and this is very important. I want you to pay attention. You know what I mean? This is 2nd Esdras 13, and we're going to jump to 40 to 42. They quote it, but I'm going to read it I'm going to read what Christopher Columbus was reading. It is there, but I'm going to read it from here. You understand? So this is the book of 2nd Esdras. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read it from here so, and then read it from this for sure. See, the same thing them right. See? So this is the book of 2nd Esdras 13 and verse 40, and this is what it says. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of I.S.U.P.K, the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt. Verse 42, that they might keep their, let me read that again, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. So this was, you know what I mean, the agreement that our Northern Kingdom brothers, the Taino Indians, the North American Indians, you understand, the Seminole Indians, made together, that seeing that they were taken from their land, let me go somewhere here. It was basically, they were so sorrowful that they were, you know what I mean, exiled, that they said, look, let me just go somewhere else and just keep the laws, you know what I mean, where we never keep to begin with. See? No, let me read and show you that is the same thing them have, them say Christopher Columbus. Read, this is the same book. See? Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of I.S.U.P.K, the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, saying that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Right? Then that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And Christopher Columbus was, you know what I mean, fanatical when it comes to, you know what I mean, the book of Esdras, because, you know what I mean, when it comes to, you know what I mean, him coming over here, because he knew that he was going to encounter, you know what I mean, the Northern Kingdom, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He knew that the people living over here calling themselves, you know what I mean, Aztecs, which they did not call themselves Aztecs, right? Who the oppressor called Aztecs, you know what I mean, the Caribs, you know what I mean, and the Arawak Indians. Christopher Columbus knew that they were the Israelites. And that was the reason for his voyage to come over here. So, but now, you know what I mean, what did Christopher Columbus do when he come over here? So, you know what I mean, in genocide of them people. Because remember, Christopher Columbus was a fake Jew in search of the real Jews. You understand? Christopher Columbus was a fake Jew in search of the real Jews. His real name was Chrisambal Cullen. And he changed it like all these fake Jews, like the Jewish man always does. Change their name. He changed it to Christopher Columbus. You understand? He was a Khazar. You know what I mean? living in Spain. And his job is, you know what I mean? His obsession was to find and eliminate the real Jews. You understand? And with that, like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, you understand? Share on all social media platforms, you know what I mean? You know, Jamaica, the country that we grew up, which were the lands of the Arawak Indian and the Carib Indians and them. Our government don't tell we that these people were Israelites. And our government don't tell we that we are Israelites too, and they were our brother. But guess what? We come over here and serve oppression just like our brothers, like what the Bible says. And with that, shalom.